Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the 2028 presidential race, and we're actually going to be making a prediction between California Governor Gavin Newsom and Vice President J.D. Vance. Of course, at this point, if this was the hypothetical matchup, Gavin Newsom would then be the former governor of California, which I thought was important to note from the beginning of the video. But I want to go ahead and get into this race and talk about some of these states. So for starters, I'm going to go ahead and give some of these states as solid blue for Gavin Newsom, and I'll do the same for J.D. Vance in just a second. So this matchup I think will be quite interesting, especially on the regard that this race would be much different than the race in 2024. First of all, J.D. Vance is not Donald Trump, so it'd be interesting to see how he's able to pull out his base compared to the president of the United States, Donald Trump, and see what kind of matchup this really could be between the two candidates. Of course, J.D. Vance is a very different candidate than Donald Trump, and I think that's first and foremost a very important point to make note of as well. Let's see. Go through the line here. Texas. Actually, I'm going to wait on Texas. But yes, I think it would be really important to see how this race could shape out between two candidates such as these on the national level, especially in states like these, in states like Georgia, in states like North Carolina, Pennsylvania, those swing states that really would make up this election in 2028 between these two candidates, and the different campaign styles that both J.D. Vance bring compared to Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom brings compared to Kamala Harris. So I believe this is all the states that I want to characterize as safe Republican or safe Democrat for the beginning of this video. And then I want to start talking about some of these more individual races. So I want to start by looking at states like New Mexico, Virginia, Minnesota, maybe some of the states, Texas, Florida, that you already thought I would have already labeled. And the reason's pretty simple. I don't think that J.D. Vance wins this by a bigger margin than Donald Trump did in 2024, so I'm going to put it in the likely column for the state of Texas. So likely Republican, same thing with Florida as well. I don't really think these are too much of shockers. Ohio and Iowa, all of those as well. So if we look back, we can see Trump won Iowa by 13 points, 11 points, 13 points in Ohio, Florida, etc. So going into the next column is likely for Democrats. I would put states similarly, such as New Mexico, Minnesota, of course Virginia for Democrats. I would also put New Hampshire in here, and then Maine's all. And actually, I think we can go ahead and put Maine second in the likely for Republicans as well. So we'll go ahead and leave that. And then same thing for Alaska. Almost forgot about it. My apologies there. So this leaves us with our key battleground states for each of these races, which we'll talk about individually. So I think for sake of the video, we should talk about Nevada. We'll go left to right. So we'll start with Nevada, go to Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then we'll start talking about Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, which will make up this map. So starting in Nevada, in 2024, Donald Trump won the state by 3.1%. I think given Gavin Newsom being governor of California, I think that given the trajectory of the state, though, going right, I think it would be a close race. But I ultimately think that Gavin Newsom could pull this off and win the state of Nevada. Of course, I could be wrong on this. I'm going to put it in that lean column, anywhere from 1 to 5%. I think that that's pretty reasonable, but I also think it could be much closer than that as well. Moving over to Arizona, I think quite the opposite. I think J.D. Vance wins this by 1 to 5%, putting it in that lean Republican column. I think that we've seen in 2024 Donald Trump being able to win the state by 5.5%. I think J.D. Vance is somewhere similar to that margin, and I think he would carry Arizona over the top for the Republican Party. Moving over to Wisconsin, if we look at this race in 2024, Donald Trump won it by less than a percentage point. In 2028, with this matchup of J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, I think that the same kind of margin would happen, but I actually think that Gavin Newsom could pull this over the top in the state of Wisconsin, so we're going to put that in the tilt Democratic trajectory. So anywhere from 0 percentage points, so I guess 0.001 or 0.01% to 1% is that margin in Wisconsin. Moving over to Michigan, we see that Donald Trump was able to win the state by 1.4%. And I also think that a similar margin would happen in 2028. I don't expect it to be as close to put it in that trajectory of being less than 1%. But I don't think that J.D. Vance is going to be able to pull out that vote share like someone like Gavin Newsom is, who has already proven that he is really taking on the role to try and be this Democratic nominee and ultimately run a general election campaign. So I ultimately think Michigan goes to Gavin Newsom, and we're going to put it in the lean Democratic column. Moving over to Georgia, I think that J.D. Vance is going to win the state of Georgia. Donald Trump won it by 2.2%. I would not be surprised if J.D. Vance was able to do that by a similar margin, putting that in the lean Republican column for the state of Georgia. Similarly, in North Carolina, also in that lean Republican column, if we look back at 2024, Trump won it by 3.2%, 2020, 1.3%, 2016, 3.7%. I think we're going to see a similar margin. Even if we have a year like 2020 where Democrats perform really well, they still have won the state of North Carolina time and time again in that lean Republican margin. So I'm going to put it there. Of course, the race for North Carolina's Senate seat in 2026 is going to play some sort of role in this. I would say. I think that maybe Democrats target this more if Roy Cooper is able to pull it over the top, like I think he will be able to. But of course, we'll have to see. I forgot to talk about Nebraska's 2nd district. I think Gavin Newsom wins this probably by that lean Democratic margin in Nebraska's 2nd as well. If we go back to 2024, Kamala Harris won it by 4.7%. I think that's probably relatively similar. Maybe Gavin Newsom could perform a little bit better, put it over that 5-point margin. But right now I'll put it in that tilt Democratic margin. Moving over to Pennsylvania, this one's going to be a real interesting one. Donald Trump won it by 1.7%, and similarly, I think J.D. Vance could do the same. I think ultimately, with the trajectory of this race, Gavin Newsom wins some of those key battleground states, being able to flip some from 2024, while still giving the Republicans the upper edge in this race. J.D. Vance seems to be someone who could run really fantastic campaigns. Although it is important to know, I should point this out, that in 2022 he only won his Senate seat in Ohio by 6.1%. So take that with what you will, but I guess you could argue either way on J.D. Vance being a good or bad candidate. But I think that that given his close connection to the president, that J.D. is really the only person that seems to be able to take, well, not the only, but one of the only people who's able to take the helm from the MAGA base and from the president and carry that over. And I think that it would pay off for him winning and having to come in with the state of Pennsylvania. Of course, if Democrats won the state of Pennsylvania, even by the smallest margins, that gives Gavin Newsom the upper edge, which would put him as the president in this prediction, of course. But as of right now, I put it in that lean Republican column for J.D. Vance. So, of course, with that being said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think would end up pulling this off? Do you agree or disagree with any of the battleground states that I've listed? Do you agree with the margins, etc.? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.